Revealed, my lawyer's urgent call uncovered an incredible truth about my daughter-in-law. Jeff wiped his grease-stained hands on an old rag, the familiar scent of oil filling his nostrils as the phone buzzed violently against his workbench. It was an odd hour for a call, but when his lawyer's name flashed across the screen, a knot of unease twisted in his stomach. "Jeff, we need to talk about Elise." The voice crackled, urgency lacing each syllable. Just hearing her name made him bristle. To Jeff, she was just the calm yoga instructor who married his son Mike, an outsider who trafficked in privilege while he toiled in sweat. "Is everything all right?" Jeff asked, confusion creeping in as his mind raced. "Not really," the lawyer stated flatly. "Elise comes from a wealthy family, an estranged one actually. They've disowned her over her choices." Jeff's heart sank, its rhythm faltering. How could someone with that kind of background choose to marry into his working-class family? His brows furrowed beneath a layer of grease, a tempest of indignation swirling inside him. Mike idolized Elise, completely unaware of the roots that she had hidden from them. Jeff felt the pressure mount as a wave of fear crashed over him, anxious that he might lose his son's respect. "She doesn't belong with us," he snapped, a desperation creeping into his voice. "This isn't what we signed up for." "It's complicated," his lawyer replied. "You should meet with her. You need to know the full story." But how could Jeff reconcile the incredible disparity? His pride in hard work, in authenticity, clashing with the sinister shadow of privilege that Elise represented. As the conversation hung in the air, the unease burrowed deeper into his chest. Could he face the truth that his values had been unwittingly undermined? He could already picture Mike's face, the disappointment brutish as Jeff rejected someone his son cared for. But what if Elise had been playing him all along? A flash of anger surged through him, colliding with the melancholy realization that deep down, he felt a warped sense of envy. She had choices he never did. Elise, despite her past, had a hidden gift, an exceptional talent for writing, pouring out her soul onto blank pages, a calling Jeff once harbored before life's burdens crushed the ink from his dreams. But wait. What did her talent mean for them? Did it hold the key to turning around their lives? Or would it simply mock his own sacrifices? The very thought gnawed at him, complicating his view of loyalty. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The sound of Mike in the other room pulled at Jeff's attention, a rush of warmth mixed with dread flooding him. He overheard his son on the phone, passionately defending Elise, words that cracked through the fog surrounding Jeff's heart. You don't know her story. She's not just some yoga instructor. She has so much more to offer. With each word, something within Jeff started to shift. Could he bridge the chasm of societal biases that separated them? As the storm of realization pulsated through him, anger shifted into confusion, drawing the lines of loyalty taut. Torn between protecting his family's honor and embracing Elise's complexity, Jeff stood on the precipice, one choice away from either breaking or binding them together as a newfound family. Jeff leaned against the workbench, the phone still warm from the conversation with his lawyer. Yet cold dread washed over him. He felt tethered between two worlds, one that appreciated sweat and grit, and another that seemed to float above it all, glittering with privilege and expectations. The tension of the moment pulled at him, each thread woven tightly with doubt and fear. Suddenly, Mike entered the workshop, curiosity etched across his face. "Dad, what's going on?" His voice unfurled in the confined space, filled with concern but also excitement. Jeff could feel Mike's allegiance to Elise, a loyalty that ignited an uncomfortable fire in his chest. "Nothing, just a call," Jeff mumbled, avoiding eye contact. But the truth laid heavy on him, an anchor preventing him from moving forward. He watched as Mike's eyes sparkled with admiration, convinced Elise was some sort of saint. "Can we talk about this? About Elise?" Mike probed, crossing his arms. It was the very question Jeff feared. How could he articulate his own insecurities without sounding petty or harsh? "What's to talk about?" Jeff snapped, the words tumbling out before he could reason with them. "She comes from that world. You know what that means." Mike flinched, appearing hurt. "You mean privilege? It's not like she chose to be alienated from her family." There was a righteous indignation in his son's piercing gaze, and for a moment, Jeff questioned his own beliefs. The argument sparked a sudden realization. This wasn't just about Elise anymore. It was about Jeff confronting his own limitations. He always valued hard work, but was he denying another's story because it threatened his own narrative? Was he losing sight of what family truly represented? And was he willing to sacrifice a deeper connection over cultural biases? "Look," Mike continued, his voice lowering as he softened. "Elise has found herself out there, just like you always taught me to embrace. Why can't you do the same?" A wave of shame crested through Jeff. Why was he so afraid? That evening, while Mike had retreated into the living room, Jeff picked up a pen, the ink pooling on a blank page before him. A blank that mirrored his conflicting thoughts. He hadn't held a pen in years, but something pulled him back to the idea of writing, of articulating those fears rather than shying away from them. Suddenly it clicked. Elise's talent was not a curse. It was a revelation, an opportunity for growth, perhaps even a bridge between their worlds. He recalled the way she spoke about narratives, how they had the power to transform lives. Did he have the courage to merge his rough-and-tumble legacy with her elegant storytelling? With every stroke of the pen, he poured out his frustrations, his hopes, and the nagging doubt that held him back. For the first time in years, he felt the weight lift. A glimpse of the person he could be, rather than the echo of the life he had succumbed to. Writing wasn't just a forgotten dream. It was the key to unlocking a deeper understanding of family. But was this newfound motivation enough to face Elise? To open himself up to her complexities? Jeff sighed, running his fingers over the ink, realizing that embracing her on this level meant more than just accepting her into the family. It meant confronting his past choices, his own insecurities, and perhaps stepping into a new realm he had never dared to explore. As he wrote, the vision of his life began to blur with Elise's potential, each line creating a narrative that intertwined their fates. Yet he knew a conversation awaited them, one that could shake his foundations, one that could potentially add or subtract from his understanding of family. The doorbell rang. Panic seized his chest, and he froze, pen poised over the paper. Could this be the moment? The time to finally face the complicated truth he had avoided? Jeff's heart raced as he approached the door, the confrontation imminent. Would he have the strength to let go of his fears, to embrace the reality of their intertwined destinies? Jeff hesitated at the door, his mind swirling with apprehension. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the encounter. The door creaked open. There stood Elise, bathed in the golden light of the late afternoon sun, a beacon of confidence wrapped in uncertainty. Her eyes sparkled with something more, a mix of hope and anticipation. In that moment, Jeff felt the weight of expectations settle uncomfortably on his shoulders. "Hi, Jeff," she said softly, her voice steady despite the one-sided tension electrifying the air around them. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything." Glancing back at the half-filled notebook on the workbench, Jeff's resolve began to falter. He swallowed the words that threatened to spill out, wondering if he was truly ready to dive into the abyss of his own fears. "No, just thinking," he managed, forcing a smile. "What brings you here?" Elise stepped inside, the door closing softly behind her, as if it sealed away their past misunderstandings. "I wanted to talk. I've been thinking a lot about us, about family." She hesitated, her gaze unwavering upon him. "About you and Mike." The mention of his son snapped Jeff back to reality. "Us? What's there to discuss?" He battled the instinct to guard his emotions, the brick wall built from years of conditioning rising up within him. "I know this hasn't been easy for you." "I see that." She pressed gently, puncturing the armor he had crafted over the years. "But I want you to understand. I'm not here to take anything away from you or Mike. I'm here to share what we can build together." "Together?" Jeff echoed, his voice a mix of skepticism and curiosity. The word tasted unfamiliar, as if he had forgotten the meaning in his endless pursuit of solitary labor. "Yes." She nodded enthusiastically, stepping closer, her passion infectious. "I believe our stories can intertwine. You have a rich life filled with experience, and I can bring a different perspective. We can create something meaningful." As her words circled in his mind, Jeff felt a flicker of possibility. Could he truly shed the rigid narrative he had clung to? A surge of realization dawned on him. Elise wasn't just a symbol of privilege. She represented growth, change, a version of family he had shunned out of fear. "What do you have in mind?" he asked, not fully aware of the shift within himself, a quiet curiosity overriding his hesitation. Elise beamed, and in that moment, Jeff saw the intricate web of stories they could foster together. "I want to explore writing, not just as a form of expression, but as a means to connect, to understand our journeys. I want you to share your wisdom, your life lessons. We could write together." The prospect of collaboration began to breathe life into the stagnant air between them. Yet, a nagging fear clawed at him. What if it's not enough? What if... He struggled for the words. "What if I'm never good enough?" Elise took a step closer, her expression softening. "Who you are is more than enough, Jeff. This isn't about perfection, it's about authenticity. We can learn from each other." The rush of possibility coursing through him was intoxicating. Jeff realized this was not just a professional challenge, but a personal one, to grapple with his past perceptions and fears, and step into the vulnerability of a new relationship. "Okay," he said, the word surprising him with its conviction. "I'll give it a shot." Elise's smile radiated a warmth he craved, but deeper undercurrents remained. The sense of risk loomed over him, tethering excitement with anxiety. As they began to discuss ideas, the laughter slowly combined with brainstorming, igniting a spark of inspiration Jeff had thought extinguished long ago. Yet the specter of self-doubt lurked in the shadows of his mind, questioning the very foundations of his self-worth. Suddenly, Mike burst into the room, a buoyant energy following him like a cloud. "What are you two up to?" His eyes flickered between them, a mixture of curiosity and excitement. "Just talking about some writing," Elise said, her enthusiasm contrast to Jeff's internal wrestling. With every word she spoke to Mike, Jeff felt another layer of his persona peel away. This was a chance for connection, the kind he had craved yet simultaneously feared. But as his heart raced, a disquieting thought crept in. What if this partnership would challenge the very narrative that defined his life? Could he embrace not just Elise, but a new identity molded in collaboration? As they talked, an invitation to a deeper dialogue unfolded, laden with potential, yet wrapped in uncertainty. Jeff's resolve to confront his fears was solidifying, but the question lingered. What would he have to sacrifice to truly embrace this new chapter? The weight of it surged within him, leaving him teetering on the edge of a precipice. Would he leap into the unknown, or retreat into the confines of his established world? The echo of his own choices loomed like a specter, and in that moment, Jeff knew a decision awaited that could alter the course of his life forever. The days following Elise's visit unfurled before Jeff like a tattered map leading deeper into uncharted territory. The initial rush of enthusiasm had ebbed, replaced with a quiet yet persistent anxiety. He sat at his workbench, the familiar scent of wood and oil grounding him. Yet the notebook lay blank, a canvas unmarred by ink or insight. Each time he picked up his pen, doubt smothered the ink before it could take form. What had he thought? Could he truly expose his life, his lessons, to anyone, let alone Elise? The fear of inadequacy spiraled, entangling itself with the persistent voice in his head that mocked his every experience. Each time he glanced at Mike, who was blissfully unaware of his father's internal struggle, guilt gnawed at him. Elise had reached out again, not with formal plans, but a simple text. "Hey, just checking in on you. How are you feeling about everything?" The question spiraled in Jeff's mind, dislodging the defenses he'd built around his vulnerabilities. Even a small question could unravel everything he had clung to for so long. He responded initially with a vague, "I'm good," before staring at the screen. The tremendous effort it took to dismiss the untruth weighed heavily. What if she wanted the hard truths, not the curated facade? After a few more days of wrestling with himself, he found himself collecting excuses. "Can I really afford this time?" he mumbled amidst a clamor of distractions. "What if I don't have anything valuable to share?" The self-inquiry was painful, yet crucial. He was confronting the wall he had built, layer by layer, and it appeared his reflection revealed someone trapped. Mike's voice ricocheted in the background, punctuating Jeff's introspection with laughter and curiosity about what his father was up to. He realized how desperately he wanted to share this journey with his son, to invite him into the messiness of growth and discovery. It was that thought that propelled him from his workstation. Jeff decided to carve out time not just for Elise, but for Mike, too. He wanted to show him what it meant to embrace uncertainty, to cultivate resilience in the face of doubt. On a whim, he gathered a few old photographs and trinkets from the past, moments that shaped his perspective, lessons he had learned, and dreams he had chased. When he lowered himself beside Mike on the living room floor, there was an electric charge in the air. "You know," Jeff began, breaking the silence, "there's something I want to share with you." Mike's attention peaked. Anticipation replaced the playful energy. With each artifact he presented, a story unfolded. A tapestry woven with failures and triumphs, challenges he had encountered. "Do you ever feel like you're not good enough, buddy?" he asked tentatively. Mike's brow furrowed and he opened his mouth as though about to utter a confession. "Sometimes, Dad, but I know it's okay to try. If I mess up, I just try again." Jeff felt a surge of pride, mixed with vulnerability. Here was the essence of what he was struggling with himself. If his son could embrace the messiness of life, what might be stopping him? He felt the warm pull of inspiration as he recalled Elise and what she proposed. Could he weave those lessons together into something greater? The hesitation in him softened, revealing a potent core of hope. Perhaps if he could share his struggle and successes with both Mike and Elise, he would not only create a connection, but redefine his understanding of self-worth. Later that evening, he sent Elise the text he'd been postponing for far too long. "I think it's time we start that writing project. I want to get started." The response came quickly, a flurry of enthusiasm that sent a ripple of excitement through him. "Yes, let's meet and brainstorm ideas." As he settled into bed that night, an unfamiliar comfort enveloped him. He was on the edge of a leap, ready to embrace a connection that could unearth new truth and open doors he had long since closed. But beneath the optimism lay a deeper concern. Would this collaborative journey challenge not just his writing skills, but the very fabric of his identity? As he pondered, the whisper of doubt emerged again, trailing reminders of his past failures. The moment of action stood before him, and Jeff realized the climax of his personal evolution was nearing. What path would this newfound collaboration carve in the landscape of who he thought he was? That question loomed large, beckoning him towards an awakening as he drifted into sleep, unaware of the revelations waiting just beyond the horizon. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, casting streaks of light that danced around Jeff's cluttered workspace. He woke with a burgeoning sense of purpose, coupled with an underlying restlessness about the writing project with Elise. How could he transform his raw experiences into a narrative that resonated authentically? The question pressed upon him as he brewed his coffee, the familiar rush of aroma intertwining with a knot of apprehension. As he sipped, Jeff's thoughts darted through the array of memories he'd shared with Mike the night before. Each story took on a new dimension: the laughter, the tears, the lessons buried within the anecdotes. Could he extract the essence of those moments and merge them into something cohesive? The impulse stirred within him, sending ripples of energy coursing through his veins. He settled at his workbench, pen poised above paper, yet the blank page loomed larger than ever. The whisper of self-doubt slithered back in. What if it's just a jumbled collection of failures? The inner critic conjured images of embarrassment and inadequacy. But then he thought of Mike, of his son's innocent wisdom, and suddenly the need for expression overshadowed fear. He wasn't just writing for himself, he was paving a pathway for Mike, showing him the power of vulnerability and narrative. Drawing a deep breath, Jeff began with the very first story he had shared with Mike, the day he had lost an important competition in his youth. He let the memory flood his mind, recalling his thoughts at the time, the sting of defeat, and how he had redefined failure in the years to come. The pen scratched the surface of the page, shaky at first, but soon gaining momentum. Words cascaded and tumbled forth, revealing lessons on perseverance and resilience he'd gleaned from that pivotal moment. Hours slipped away as he wrote, building a collection of tales that ebbed and flowed through valleys of disappointment and peaks of triumph. The narratives began to shape into a mosaic, each piece highlighting not only his own journey, but paralleling Mike's budding understanding of life's unpredictable nature. As he crafted each paragraph, the doubts kept creeping in, but he had developed a shield of purpose. This wasn't merely a personal project, it was a shared legacy. When the clock struck noon, a ping on his phone interrupted his concentration. Elise's response to their last exchange. "How about we meet at the cafe this afternoon? I'm so excited to brainstorm." The enthusiasm in her words was infectious, igniting a spark in Jeff. This wasn't just a writing session, it was an opportunity to share and gather insight, to navigate his thoughts alongside an ally. He packed a few pages of his drafts into his bag, ready to present his ideas. As he left his workshop, a sense of elation intertwined with anxiety crept into his mind. What would Elise think of his stories? What if she didn't resonate with the tone of his experiences? Yet deeper still was the realization that this meeting represented a critical step in his evolution. He was seeking affirmation not just from Elise, but also from himself. The cafe brimmed with energy when he arrived, the ambient hum of conversation rising to the ceiling. Elise spotted him and waved, her genuine smile cutting through his apprehension. They settled into a booth, and he spread his pages across the table. "Wow, you've really started," she said, tracing her fingers over the lines. Her enthusiasm was palpable, invigorating the air around them. "I dove into some stories," he replied, watching her reactions closely. "But I'm just not sure if I've captured what I wanted. Let's figure that out together. Translating experiences can be tricky, but it's what makes them powerful." Her words resonated, and he felt a shift within himself, a realization that this process was a collaboration, one that could potentially reshape his self-identity. As they delved into ideas and feedback, the conversation opened avenues he hadn't considered before. Each discussion melted away the layers of doubt, revealing the possibility of transformation. Jeff felt acutely aware of how vital this experience was, not just for the narrative he was weaving, but for his own journey towards self-acceptance. However, just as they began brainstorming fresh ideas, a sudden thought interrupted his focus. Was he ready to confront the deeper truths that might emerge from his writing? Truths that could challenge the very essence of how he viewed himself. The urgency of that question hung in the air, simmering with potential for profound revelations. "Jeff," Elise's voice broke through his reverie. "What's holding you back?" The moment expanded, and he could feel the unmistakable weight of a breakthrough looming ahead. With his heart racing, he prepared to dissect the very insecurities he had tried to avoid, knowing that uncovering them might drive a wedge into the barriers he had built for years. As he opened his mouth to respond, a surge of uncertainty shadowed his resolve. What truths were waiting to be unearthed? The answer remained tantalizingly just out of reach, drawing him into a deeper exploration of self that would inevitably redefine his journey. Jeff's mind raced as moments stretched into an eternity. Elise's inquiry lingered, heavy yet inviting, and he was caught in an internal tug-of-war. How could he articulate the very fears that had held him captive for so long? The facade of composure he had meticulously crafted felt increasingly fragile. "I think it's the fear of not being good enough," he finally confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. The admission struck him deeper than he anticipated, echoing through the cafe's clamor like a solitary drumbeat. Elise's gaze was unwavering. She leaned in slightly, a gesture of encouragement. "Good enough for whom? Yourself? Or the world?" She probed gently, recognizing the significance of the moment. The question sparked a flurry of thoughts in his mind. Jeff found himself recalling a childhood marked by constant comparisons, his own expectations spiraling into an elusive chase for validation. "Both, I guess," he replied, his defiance crumbling as vulnerability seeped through the cracks. "I've always felt this need to measure up, especially when I think about Mike. I want to show him that he can face challenges head-on. But how can I do that when I still question my own worth?" The depth of his emotions surged forth as he began to peel away the layers. Each expressed insecurity was a revelation, an unexpected catalyst propelling him toward a deeper understanding of himself. The conversation shifted from mere brainstorming to an exploration of his identity, a dynamic interplay of raw honesty, balancing on the edge of transformation. Elise listened intently, nodding, her eyes reflecting a shared comprehension. Maybe embracing your imperfections is the key. They shape you. They inform your stories. They don't diminish your value. They enhance it. Jeff paused, contemplating her words. There was truth in her observation. His experiences weren't simply personal failures, but poignant moments that told a more authentic tale. Reframing his narrative felt liberating yet daunting. Could he really confront those experiences without falling into self-doubt again? He tried to envision how folding his flaws into his writing could open doors to a connection with Mike that went deeper than surface-level lessons. If he illustrated his struggles, that authenticity could provide comfort and guidance for his son, who was in turn navigating his own battles. "Maybe I've been too focused on trying to select the best moments, trying to show I rose above instead of admitting no one gets through life unscathed," Jeff observed, a burgeoning realization dawning on him. The essence of storytelling lay in its relatability. As their conversation transitioned back toward the practicalities of narrative structure, the air crackled with a sense of impending clarity. Each suggestion Elise offered felt like a stepping stone, each piece of feedback an opportunity to expand his understanding of not just the writing, but of himself. And yet, there was a lurking shadow in the backdrop. He still hadn't addressed the fears behind his stories, the encounters with failure that had molded him, but were also laden with guilt and shame. Just as he began to document those emotions in his notes, his phone vibrated, fracturing the intimacy of the moment. It was a notification from Mike's school, a message implying a potential issue surrounding his son's recent behavior. Anxiety flared within him like a wildfire. Had he been so focused on his own journey that he hadn't noticed the struggles his son might be facing? Heart pounding, Jeff and Elise exchanged glances. The excitement of creativity clashed dramatically with the worries of impending fatherhood responsibilities. As he rushed to read the message, Jeff felt a pivotal shift occurring within him. Would he be able to navigate both his responsibilities to Mike and his deeply personal exploration in writing? "This isn't just about me anymore," he murmured, the implications weighing heavily on his mind. The lurking fear of failure had just expanded its scope. It wasn't only about his insecurities, but about being the kind of father Mike needed. With newfound urgency coursing through his veins, Jeff realized he was standing at a crossroads. Would he confront both the truths in his writing and the emerging challenges of his role as a father? The decisions ahead felt daunting, yet full of profound potential for growth. As he composed himself, a flicker of determination ignited within him. Jeff was ready to dive deeper, not just into his own narrative, but into the intricate relationship he shared with Mike, willing to peel back those layers and face whatever truths lay beneath. And as he locked eyes with Elise, he could feel the underlying promise of change beginning to unfurl, leaving him to wonder, would he emerge from this journey equipped to tackle both his own past and his son's present? The unfolding story demanded he find out. Jeff sat back in his chair, his heart racing from the weight of the school message. The cafe, once a sanctuary of ideas and conversation, now felt cage-like, the chatter surrounding him muffled under the intensity of his thoughts. What had he missed? Had he been so entrenched in uncovering his own insecurities that he hadn't noticed the disquiet festering in his son? This realization churned, a potent mix of dread and urgency, as he began to grapple with the implications. Elise, reading the shift in his demeanor, leaned closer. "What's wrong?" Her voice, usually a source of comfort, now felt like a spotlight illuminating the shadows in his mind. Jeff hesitated, guilt washing over him. "It's about Mike. There's something going on at school, something I didn't see." She nodded, a steadying presence as he took a deep, trembling breath. "You're juggling a lot right now, and it's okay if you've missed a thing or two. We all have blind spots." "Blind spots," he echoed bitterly. "It's more like I've had my eyes wide shut." Every excuse he concocted to dismiss this authentic call to action settled uneasily in his throat. The realization that his quest for self-acceptance might have rendered him blind to his son's emotional landscape left an acrid taste. "What do you plan to do?" Elise's question drew him back, a reminder that this was still a moment for action, not despair. With resolve, any lingering self-doubt began to slowly recede. Jeff's focus shifted away from his insecurities. "I need to talk to Mike. I need to find out what's really bothering him." It was as if his determination had sparked something within him, igniting not just a sense of purpose, but also a driving force behind his words. "Good," Elise said, her voice filled with encouragement. "But be careful. Approach it gently. You want him to feel safe, not scrutinized." He honored her advice as they wrapped up their meeting. The narrative threads he had been weaving no longer seemed just about his own fears or aspirations. They had transformed into a broader tapestry that intertwined his growth with Mike's emotional journey. He suddenly felt an immense weight lift from his shoulders. In confronting his inadequacies, he could become more than just a storyteller. He could be a guiding force for his son. As he stepped outside into the crisp autumn air, he could almost hear a choir of unspoken thoughts unfurling in his mind. The path ahead was not solely about mending his own scars, but also about deciphering the ones Mike bore. Every step he took echoed with purpose. He was no longer merely a father attempting to coach from the sidelines. He was about to engage in the deeply personal game of fatherhood, prepared to play all out. His phone buzzed again in his pocket, snapping him from his reverie. It was another message, but this time from Mike. With hesitant anticipation, he opened it. "Dad, can you come pick me up after school today?" The straightforwardness of the request struck him. This wasn't merely about logistics. It was an invitation to connect, to listen, to be present. Jeff felt an overwhelming desire to seize this moment, to ensure their car ride became a conversation-filled voyage. He clenched his phone tightly, determination flooding his mind. What started as a fear of inadequacy had shifted into a need for intimacy and understanding between him and Mike. He wouldn't just be talking about fears and failures. He would share his own struggles and truly listen to his son's. As he drove toward the school, the landscape blurred by quickening thoughts, Jeff realized he was on the brink of something transformative. He was ready to confront truths, not only about himself, but about the intricate ties of fatherhood that demanded courage and authenticity. And with each passing block, he envisioned the courage it would take to become the father he hadn't realized he needed to be. A father who wouldn't just impart lessons, but would bare his soul in reciprocity to create a bridge of understanding. What was waiting after school? What revelations about Mike might emerge when they finally faced one another? Jeff could only hope that the road ahead would pave the way for not only healing, but a more profound connection that neither of them yet understood. The afternoon sun draped a golden hue over the school parking lot, creating a sharp contrast to the tension that hung heavy in Jeff's chest as he parked the car. Thoughts raced through his mind, each one an echo of the careful conversations he had rehearsed. "Stay calm," he whispered to himself, trying to summon the assurance that felt so far away. Waiting for Mike's familiar figure to appear from the throng of students felt like an eternity. With every passing moment, he grappled with the weight of what lay ahead. Would Mike be receptive to his concern? Or would he retreat further into silence? Jeff couldn't shake a lingering doubt. Had he waited too long to be the father his son needed? Finally, he spotted Mike, his gait slower than usual, his gaze fixed on the ground rather than the sky, as if subconsciously avoiding a confrontation with the world. Jeff's heart sank. There it was, the visible evidence of something troubling. He stepped out of the car, urgency surging through him as he approached. "Hey, buddy." He offered a tentative smile, but Mike's muted response, a slight nod, sent a shiver of concern down his spine. "You texted me? You okay?" Mike shrugged, a gesture steeped in teen indifference, but Jeff recognized the underlying layers. The lack of eye contact, the slight downturn of his mouth. It was an unmistakable sign of distress that demanded more than just surface-level inquiries. "Let's talk in the car." Jeff motioned for his son to follow, noting how Mike lagged a step behind. As they sat in the car, the engine humming a familiar tune of comfort, Jeff faced his son, determined to peel back the layers of silence. "So, what's been going on at school?" His words felt awkward at first, fumbling in the air like clumsy birds. Mike's sigh was heavy with unsaid thoughts. "It's stupid. Just stuff with some kids." "Stupid can still hurt," Jeff said gently, fostering a bridge between their worlds. "I want to hear about it. You don't have to go through this alone." Mike shifted in his seat, his fingers tracing the zipper of his jacket. "They say things, like about how I dress, or how I don't play sports." A flicker of vulnerability crossed his face, and Jeff's heart ached to see his son grappling with such dismissive hurt. "That sounds really tough," Jeff replied, drawing on the empathy he had learned to cultivate. It was his first instinct to jump to solutions, to defend Mike, but understanding required him to stay present and listen. "They make fun of me, and it sucks." Mike's voice cracked, and in that moment, Jeff saw not just his son but also the reflection of his own struggles. Moments when he had felt out of place. Moments when he had internalized the voices of doubt. "Do you remember when I worked at that firm, and everyone thought I was just some kid without any real prospects?" Jeff's admission surprised even him, but he pressed on. "I felt invisible sometimes, and it made me question if I belonged. I get it." Mike looked at him then, uncertain, yet curious. "You did? But you're you." "Yeah, well, I had to realize that being me wasn't about fitting into a box. It's about being true to yourself, even if others can't see it yet. And trust me, the real you is someone worth getting to know," Jeff said, leaning into the vulnerability they were both experiencing. For the first time since the car ride began, a glimmer of acknowledgement crossed Mike's face. But what if I don't change? He murmured, his defenses wavering. You don't have to change for anyone but yourself. Your story matters, Mike. It always has, Jeff encouraged, feeling emboldened by the connection they were weaving. Silence enveloped them, the kind that felt heavy, yet hopeful. Jeff wasn't sure how far their dialogue could go, but he sensed they were inching towards something vital. If he could hold space for Mike's pain, perhaps they could navigate their way into a richer understanding of each other, a father and son leaning into their shared insecurities. As the warmth of connection seeped in, Mike asked a question that struck deep. What if I just want to be normal? Normal isn't real, kid. Everyone has struggles they don't share. Embrace your uniqueness, Jeff replied firmly, worry mingling with hope. That question hung thick in the air, echoing the fragility of adolescence. And as Mike stared out the window, Jeff sensed a turning point, an unresolved tension ready to unfold. He yearned for his son to accept his differences, but could he help Mike see that his quirks could become strengths? Driving home, the quiet conversation lingered, and Jeff couldn't help but wonder, could he guide Mike through this fog of uncertainty cloaking them both? Would the raw honesty of their exchange create a newfound path toward enlightenment? Or would it lead to a deeper confrontation of their fears? With each block they passed, the looming uncertainty hung like a curtain ready to drop. What awaited them in the days ahead? And how would they each respond to the challenges they would face together? As the car pulled into the driveway, the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the lawn. Mike remained quiet, the internal battle visible on his face. Jeff took a deep breath. The moment felt fragile, like a dam ready to burst. He wasn't just dealing with his son's discomfort. He was staring down his own fears of inadequacy as a father. Mike, he finally initiated, feeling the weight of words in his throat. What do you think about what we talked about? About being unique? Mike shrugged again, a reflexive defense against deeper engagement. But Jeff sensed the undercurrent, the willingness to explore, even if just a fraction. I guess, Mike replied slowly, reluctantly. I just don't see how being me, however that looks, is enough. It feels like I'm not good enough for them. At that moment, a surge of empathy washed over Jeff. He remembered feeling like that during pivotal moments in his own adolescence. The feeling of not fitting into someone else's ideal loomed large, often overshadowing any self-acceptance. You don't need their validation, Mike. You need to see the value in being who you are. Just like I had to, Jeff said, grounding himself in his own experiential wisdom. What if it's not enough? Mike's tone dripped with skepticism. Everyone just wants to blend in. It's like a requirement. Even the kids who seem perfect have something they struggle with, Jeff pressed on cautiously. When I was in school, I idolized the popular kids. But truthfully, most of them were just as lost as I was. Everyone's just trying their best to navigate their own insecurities. In the confinements of their car, the urgency of the conversation sparked a flicker of hope within Jeff. However, he knew navigating this delicate strait of teenage confusion wouldn't happen overnight. He resolved to employ practical strategies to empower Mike without overwhelming him. Let's try something, Jeff suggested, feeling a surge of determination. How about we each list 3 things we really like about ourselves, no matter how small they seem? He glanced sideways at Mike, gauging his interest. Seriously? Mike replied with a mixture of skepticism and intrigue. Yeah, seriously. I'll go first to show you it's not that hard. Fine, Mike conceded, though Jeff could see the hint of intrigue breaking through his son's exterior. I like how I cook. Makes me feel accomplished. Plus it's helpful, Jeff stated. I like that I can listen to music that speaks to me, even if others think it's weird. And I like that I can still learn from mistakes, like when I thought I had it all figured out at work, only to find I had so much more to learn. A moment of thoughtful silence followed, before Mike hesitantly replied, I like my style. The smallest smile broke through, exposing a glimmer of his true self. "That's a great start. What else?" Jeff pressed gently. I like my drawings. I've got some ideas in my sketchbook that I think are cool." "That's awesome. And the third?" Jeff urged. "Maybe that I'm actually okay at video games?" Mike said with a slight chuckle, his unease beginning to dissipate. "Perfect. And those things are uniquely you," Jeff said, feeling elated. "See? These are not things you should shy away from. They are your strengths." Progress, however small, sparked an optimistic fire in Jeff's heart. The feeling bubbled up within him, urging him to step further into the role of an encouraging father. But an underlying tension persisted, reminding him that this was just the beginning. As the sun set, shadows lengthened, marking not just the end of the day, but a potential turning point in their relationship. "Thanks for listening, Dad," Mike murmured, a hint of gratitude in his eyes. But somewhere beneath his surface, uncertainty simmered. But before Jeff could respond, something flickered in Mike's gaze, a shadow of doubt which suggested this openness might also lead to misunderstandings. Would this dialogue truly lead Mike towards self-acceptance? Or would the harsh realities of peer pressure ultimately drown out their moments of connection? As they stepped out of the car, Jeff couldn't shake the unsettling weight in his stomach. A feeling that this moment, while pivotal, was only a prelude to what lay ahead. Perhaps a confrontation with the very peers that made Mike's struggles so tangible. What new challenges would arise now that they had started to uncover these layers of understanding? How would Mike respond when the world pushed back against his fragile acceptance? As the door clicked shut behind them, the uncertainty loomed larger than ever, leaving them both standing on the brink of something vastly transformative. In the days that followed, the air within the household shifted. Conversations between Jeff and Mike became more frequent, woven into the fabric of their daily routines. Each interaction bore the promise of growth, albeit fraught with uncertainty. Jeff felt a burgeoning responsibility. His path toward personal acceptance became a core component of his role as a father. The transformation wasn't instantaneous. It was a gradual unlocking of avenues long unexplored. Yet, with each tender exchange, Jeff saw a flicker of hope ignite within Mike. They tackled more profound subjects during their tête-à-tête, navigating feelings that went beyond simple teenage discomfort. Jeff found himself using the writing he had kicked off with Elise, parlaying the lessons from his stories into actionable conversations. One afternoon, after an unremarkable day at school, Mike approached Jeff with an unexpected request. "Can we try the exercise with the 3 things again?" The earnestness in Mike's voice struck Jeff. He appreciated the initiative, recognizing the subtle transformation occurring within them both. "Of course," Jeff replied, his spirit lifted. "I'm right here." Sitting side by side on the couch, the ritual soon morphed into laughter and meaningful discussions. "I like how I can draw whatever is in my head," Mike stated, pride shining through. "Absolutely. That's a skill very few have. And your drawings, they aren't just images. They have feelings. And," Mike hesitated, then boldly declared, "I like how I can still listen to Dad ramble on about work and life without falling asleep." Jeff chuckled, a wave of relief washing over him. The laughter propelled them into deeper territories, a sanctuary, exempt from judgment, yet rife with sincerity. It became an unwritten agreement between father and son. They both leaned into vulnerability, exploring their experiences without the weight of expectation. As time passed, Mike's confidence grew, evident in the way he engaged with classmates. The smirks and sneers became less of a burden as he learned to stand resolute in his authenticity. One evening, he came home animated, bursting with tales of successful encounters at school. "I stood up for myself today," he exclaimed. "I told them I'm not going to let anyone change who I am." Jeff beamed with pride. He felt an ache of fulfillment deep within. It wasn't just Mike's triumph, it was shared. Their journey of mutual transformation, immersed both of them in a web of shared experience. Then came the pivotal moment, an invitation from Elise to attend a local community event. "It's a gathering for writers and creatives," Elise explained, her eyes sparkling. "I think it could really benefit both of us. I'd love you and Mike to come along." Jeff felt a surge of apprehension but quelled it. Mike was eager, and for the first time, confidence bubbled in Jeff. "Let's do it," he answered, surprising himself. They had been navigating uncharted urban jungles of self-acceptance together. Why not take the leap into the open arms of creativity? The day of the gathering arrived, a vibrant swirl of colors and voices at the venue. Jeff sensed a trepidation wash over him, a mix of anticipation and fear, but he dismissed it. He and Mike stood shoulder to shoulder, one supporting the other as they explored the event. Elise introduced Jeff to a myriad of artists, writers, and storytellers. Each interaction illuminated the importance of collective growth, an echo of the journey he had with Mike at home. They compared stories, shedding layers and building connections. In one conversation with a fellow writer, Jeff noted the frankness of shared struggle, an intricate dance between vulnerability and authenticity. The power of narrative surged through him, igniting a weight of affirmation. As the day transitioned to dusk, Elise gathered them for a reading session. The energy in the room pulsed with creativity, anticipation crackling in the air. In that moment, Jeff found himself volunteering to share a piece he'd written, one that embodied his own struggles and a father's love for his son. Standing before the audience, Jeff felt transformed. As he recounted his fears, his joys, and the lessons he'd learned, he saw Mike's eyes gleam with recognition. He had created a bridge. He was no longer just the worker bee in his garage. He was a storyteller, intertwining the narratives of their lives. He concluded to a warm applause, but the validation came not from the applause itself. It came from the glances exchanged between him and Mike. In that moment, Jeff realized this wasn't just about his journey. It had blossomed into an opportunity for Mike to embrace who he was and to reclaim any voice the world tried to silence. As they exited the venue, night cloaked the world around them, but warmth enveloped Jeff. "That was amazing, Dad," Mike exclaimed, gripping his arm. Gratitude rippled through Jeff. "No, buddy. It's amazing because of you. You've been my strength in this." Navigating their way through the newfound ties of identity and understanding helped them mend a fractured relationship. They emerged as two individuals intertwined, unearthing the layers of their existence. Jeff stood taller that evening, knowing he had achieved something profound, not just through storytelling but through redefining what it meant to be a father. The journey of exploring vulnerability had morphed into a mutual climb. He felt established, confident in who he was, recognized as a loving parent, a storyteller, and a guide. In those shared moments, he knew this was a beginning, a continuous evolution that would shape them both for years to come. You need to subscribe now to catch the next unfolding stories of emotional discovery. Leave a like now to keep the momentum going. Help feed the algorithm. Comment below with your reactions and theories about this journey of transformation. Don't wait. Even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends you know who need to see this conclusion. Your support is what brings these stories to life.